Welcome to the Be Yourself, Be Heard podcast with me, Dr. Faisal Shaikh, consultant psychiatrist. Today, I have Trish Dalby, Vice Lord Lieutenant in the East Riding of Yorkshire, joining me as a guest. Welcome, Trish, to the
Good morning,
podcast.
Faisal.
Yeah. Pleasure to have you today on our podcast.
Thank you.
And the podcast is focused on seeing neurodivergence through the eyes of professionals and policymakers. So we'll have a chat about yourself and your views. And I think we'd like to know about your journey and how you've got to where you've got to, Trish. So let me start by your current engagements, Trish, if I may, because I just introduced you as the Vice Lord Lieutenant for the East Riding of Yorkshire region. Can you explain what that role entails and your other engagements on a day-to-day basis?
Well, it's a great privilege actually to hold that role. There are 98 lieutenancies across the UK, and for East Riding of Yorkshire, Jim Dick is our Lord Lieutenant. And of course, it's a large region because we cover Hull and East Riding of Yorkshire. So Jim has a cohort of deputy lieutenants who help him to fulfil the role. And the role is to be the King's representative in the county. So, and I've been privileged to be asked to be the Vice Lord Lieutenant. So if Jim, because he can't be everywhere all at once, if Jim isn't able to make an engagement, then he would ask myself or one of the other deputy lieutenants to attend on his behalf. So it's a great privilege. I get to meet so many interesting people and see some wonderful, wonderful things that people do for their communities and the sort of the time and commitment and energy they give. So it's a real privilege to have that role.
No, I think it's interesting and it's fabulous to learn this about this role. I guess for someone like me who has heard about national government and local government, so how does that role fit, for example, with the local council?
Oh, it is entirely separate because you are the King's representative. So it isn't tied into politics in any way.
Okay. Yeah. And I'm also aware, Trish, through our previous discussions, that you're engaged in many aspects of public life in Hull and East Riding. You mentioned being a magistrate on the creative and the art scene. So tell us a bit more about your other engagements, because you have been very active in those areas.
I'm very lucky because through my previous role, when I was in work, I met lots of different people. And when I retired, which is almost 7 years ago now, which I actually can't believe, I've got the privilege of being a magistrate. So I sit on both the family bench and the criminal bench. And that brings very different aspects of life and what's happening in our communities locally. I'm the chair of the Hey Smile Foundation, which is an infrastructure charity. We support almost 2,000 charities across East Riding and Hull. And we help with issues around governance, with access to funding and sort of directing people to charities where they can find funding to be able to continue their activities. So we give that infrastructure support to organisations. I'm the chair of the Freedom Festival Arts Trust, which is just fantastic because, we'll be the 2nd to the 4th of September this year will be Freedom Festival. And that's just a wonderful, wonderful celebration that is focused on high quality, international, national and local talent, but all around the issues of social justice, freedom. And in fact, the title of your podcast, Be Seen, Be Heard, is really important because we want everybody, no matter what their background, no matter what their interests, their gender, their political views, we want people to engage with one another. And that's really important in terms of social justice because discourse, getting to know people, understanding where they're coming from is how you build a more cohesive society.
Absolutely.
So that's really important.
And I have attended the Freedom Festival on a couple of occasions. It's an annual event, isn't it?
Yes, it is, yeah.
How long has this been going on for, just out of interest?
Well, next year will be 20 years of freedom.
Okay, so
which is fantastic, isn't
track
it?
record there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And it puts Hull on the map. Is there something like this in other cities, or is it very Hull specific? This is
no. There are festivals, across the UK and internationally, of course.
Yeah, freedom festivals, that is.
Oh, not Freedom Festival, but festivals of art and culture and engagement.
Yeah.
But specifically for Hull, it's because we, with William Wilberforce having been our MP and the role that he had in the abolition of slavery. So it was the bicentennial of William Wilberforce that was the catalyst to create the Freedom Festival in 2007. So, yeah, it's a long history in Hull.
No, that's fantastic.
It is. It's brilliant. And because the majority of all of the performances are free and it's outdoor, it's on the street, and you get the whole range of different ages, families coming together. Yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah. Fantastic. So let's go through yourself, Trish, in terms of your personal self. So who is Trish Dalby? I mean, tell us about your origin, your upbringing.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a big question. Who is Trish Dalby?
Yeah. As much as you're comfortable to share. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I was born in Liverpool in 1960, so I now have my bus pass, delighted to say. Yeah. And my father was in the Missions to Seamen. So he's a lay reader in the Missions to Seamen. So when I was, I think, 3, he was posted to Swansea in South Wales. So we, as a family, moved to Swansea in South Wales. And then when I was 6, there was a proposal that Dad be posted to Montevideo in Uruguay or Hull. And my parents chose Hull.
Right.
And that was really because myself and I have a younger sister would have had to have gone to boarding school. We'd have been away from our parents, and my parents didn't want that. So we came to Hull when I was 6. So my education has been in Hull at Endyke Primary School, Fifth Ave Junior School, and then Amy Johnson High School for Girls.
Fantastic. Yeah. So you've been in Hull all your life, essentially. I mean, except for the first 6 years of your life, I think you've...
Yeah, well, then I went to study at the University of Aston in Birmingham. Then I moved to Brussels for 18 months and then Amsterdam for 5 years. So I came back to Hull in 1989 and I've been here ever since.
Yeah, and you kept your roots.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, Hull's just a wonderful city, isn't it?
Yeah.
And, so many people who come here to study or to work, they stay. They don't leave.
Yeah, I'm one of them. I came to train as a psychiatrist, and I stayed. I think I had a sojourn in the Midlands for 12 years, but then I chose to come back. Yeah. So I couldn't agree more. So I think that's fascinating, Trish. So tell us a little bit about what forces or what opportunities shaped you growing up. In what I'm trying to get to, the values that you've espoused as you've grown up, what sorts of forces and opportunities shaped you to have the values that you have?
I'm not sure, to be honest, Faisal. I mean, I've always been quite an optimistic person. I'm very resilient because as for everybody, good things happen in life and bad things happen in life, don't they? And I think it's important and that's one thing that I feel very passionate about for our young people, that we need to build resilience for our young people. So when opportunities have come along, I've taken them. I've, been in a fortunate position to be able to do that.
Yeah, I think there is a saying that opportunities knocks on the door once. I think, is that something that you've heard? I don't know. So you've been someone who has been courageous to take up opportunities and.
Not sure if courageous, because I've been scared most of the time.
Okay. But how do you define resilience then, in the sense that?
Well, to have that kind of imposter syndrome, but think, but I've got to do it anyway. I've got a very strong sense of social justice, and my family were not poor. We're not rich. We were quite poor, and. Mum and Dad had a lot of things that they had to cope with as they were, they were young parents. And I just think that I've learnt a lot from my mum and dad, obviously. But I just think if an opportunity comes to you, you should take it. And it's not just it might never come again. It's just that you don't know what's around the corner. Yeah, and that's what I find quite exciting. I think for a lot of people, they have imposter syndrome, and I have that in spades. But you don't know what something could become. And if you could be part of creating something really special, so it has an impact on people who perhaps don't have those opportunities may never come to them, then you should do that, really. It's your responsibility. I believe we all have rights, responsibilities. And, no matter where you are in life, you should live up to those responsibilities.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a very important point that you're making. And I just want to link it with another point that you addressed earlier, and I asked a question about that, embracing difference. What are your views about embracing difference? I think from what you've said, I would say that you're a champion of embracing difference, but can you maybe unpack it for us? And how do you have that in action, play that in action, the idea of embracing difference and what that means to you?
Yeah. Well, everyone is different, aren't they? And it would be a pretty sad world if we weren't. Maybe growing up, because we were in the Missions to Seamen, which was a Christian organisation that supported, it's a very different world now, isn't it, in ports and port cities. But, when Dad was in the mission, that was at a time when a ship might come in, have 4 or 5 days, sometimes longer, in port. And then the mission was there to support them with their emotional well-being, people away from home for a long time, etc. So we met people from all different countries all over the world. So we were used to people of different ethnicities, different cultures, different backgrounds. So I think that's probably where that started. Yeah. And people are just fascinating, aren't they, Faisal? Don't you think? I mean, you're a psychiatrist.
No. I agree. I fully agree. And I think, psychiatry very much has a similar theme of embracing difference and meeting people of different backgrounds and different orientations. Yeah. And I think it seems like this has been a lifelong, pursuit for you in terms of helping people and providing for them. And so it's from your younger years, but it's continued into your adulthood as well, and continues to this day, hasn't it?
Well, that sounds very highfalutin. Not really. No, I mean, I wouldn't. I've just been so lucky because I have met lots of different people, and had the opportunity to engage with them, and some people you're able to sort of help them, and they help you. I mean, that's the thing. It's a symbiotic relationship, isn't it? When you engage with people, you both gain from it. And that's really important, I think. And that's where the discourse that happens today in the world distresses me, when you have this separation and polarization of people, because people are not polar opposites. And it's only by getting to know someone and sharing your experiences and them sharing with you that you kind of build that cohesion. Yeah,
and you remove those barriers that have been...
because usually they're just based on misunderstanding and not knowing.
Yeah. And then one area of difference is, of course, neurodivergence. I'd like to know, Trish, if you've had any thoughts about embracing neurodivergence or people with neurodivergence. I mean, that may be through your personal experiences or professional experiences. Because you work as a magistrate in the charitable sector.
I think what's interesting is that I won't know how many people I've met who are neurodivergent because there isn't a big banner that says, "Hey, I'm neurodivergent," and because there's such a spectrum of impact of neurodiversity on the individual and how they act and how they present themselves. So I won't know how many neurodivergent people I've met. What I am very conscious of now, and that has only really come in later life, and I think because you're also neurodiversity is talked about much more, it's much more recognised, is that, the people who... I'm a hugger, Faisal. So if you go to hug someone, not everyone wants to be hugged. Yeah. And I'm now much more conscious of that.
That's a good example, So we have to somehow adjust to other people's preferences.
But you have to read the signs. And what's interesting, what I have found is that people who I now know are neurodivergent sometimes find it hard to read your signs as well. So you have to kind of be mindful. No,
I think that's good. I think part of the podcast is to provide some motivation to our listeners as well. So I just want to take us on a journey with learning about a challenge or a situation that you've coped with that might have got us to learn lessons from? I don't know. Can you reflect on something in your life that has been along the lines of coping with a challenge or undergoing a sacrifice?
There have been a few, and I don't really want to go into the details of those, but I think that's where that has built my resilience. And I think because I have a natural predisposition to think, we'll get through this, it will get better. And that's something that I try to, I mentor a few people, and that's what I say to them. You'll get through this. It will take time, but you're strong and you will learn from this.
So resilience is your top lesson from having gone some of your challenges.
Yeah, absolutely. And for some people that's a step too far. Some people can't be resilient, and that's where you have to give them the support that you can and help them deal with whatever they're dealing with in their own way.
And then on the flip side of challenges, what has been, can you recall a time that has been a moment of pride for you? And, that could be a small win or a big win.
Yeah, I mean, there have been lots of those, mainly small wins, because they can have the biggest impact, can't they? I don't know. I suppose professionally, I've been given opportunities that I've taken, but that's because I've been supported to take them. So that's been a real kind of I've just been so lucky. I've been so privileged in that. And I think, in terms of personally, obviously, having our son James and then becoming a grandma, that was a very, very special, very impactful moment in my life and then of my partner Stephen. And I just adore my grandchildren.
No, that's very,
and that was the reason to retire, because we wanted to be hands-on grandparents as well.
No, that's very special. No, Thank you for sharing that. So I think that leads us on to the authenticity side of things. And what is the authentic version of Trish yourself?
I don't really know how to answer that.
Thank you. Or, I mean, another way of putting it, what is your formula for living authentically?
Okay. Well, first, I live really by two tenets, and they're both Christian, although I'm not a practicing Christian at the moment. One is, there but for the grace of God go I. You have no idea what's happened to someone in their lives.
Yeah.
You don't know what their backstory is. You through engagement you get to know.
Yes.
But you don't know. So don't judge. And just be open-minded about them. But you don't know. So tread carefully sometimes. And then the other is probably one that throughout my working life has been really important, which is that by their fruits shall ye know them. So we all know people who can talk the talk, but it's the people who can walk the talk, who actually do make a difference, who do roll up their sleeves, get stuck in and do things. So they're the two tenets really that I live my life by. And my expectations of people are quite high sometimes. And that's a fault, really, I think. Sometimes
but I think it must come from a good place, wouldn't it? I think.
Oh yeah. No, I hope so. Yeah. Hope so. Yeah. But yeah, they're the two tenets of life, I think.
No, that's good. That's excellent. So I think one question that I ask every guest that I have on the podcast is a personal question, which is. Sensory sensitivity can be an issue for people with neurodivergence. And my daughter, she's 18 now. She has sensory sensitivity with crying noises, which can make traveling somewhat challenging for us because you can't escape having the noise of crying babies. And this is not to put you on the spot, but just get you to think outside the box. What policy proposals would you think be appropriate in your mind to help someone in Nawal's situation? Because I'm sure there'll be lots of people in Nawal's situation.
Do you mean travelling by train, by plane?
Yeah, all manner of
travel. Yeah. Well, obviously, if it's family travel in a car or something, that's more within your gift, and that's easier for you to do with. But if you're talking about public transport, I think probably making whomever, like on a plane, making the staff on the plane aware.
Yeah.
I don't know whether or not you subscribe to having, the sunflower.
Yes, yeah.
You do,
yeah,
okay.
We do have that, yeah.
You do, okay.
I think, the airports are usually very understanding staff, because then there are large buildings, so you can find a space that is quiet enough. But it's when you're on the plane itself, and if you're unlucky to have a family with small children who are a couple of rows ahead of you or behind you, because you can't plan for these things in advance. Same with the train as well. If you're happy to be, with the train, there's flexibility that you can move to a carriage that.
To a quiet carriage or whatever. Yeah, and that must be really difficult, Faisal. But I think again, if the attendants on the plane are aware of that, and if there is any opportunity to move to somewhere that's quieter. But I think it's awareness, but I think that's a more general.
Yeah, and I think we are fortunate enough to have managed to talk to people. Being a professional helps as well. But I do believe that there may be many other families in our situation who might not have the same ability to negotiate or ask. So if there was a policy proposal that can apply to all of us, I think that'd be a way to resolve that issue, I think, or enable inclusive travel for people with neurodivergence.
Yeah. Well, awareness is the key thing, isn't it? It's a bit like, as I say, I don't know how many neurodivergent people I've met in my life. But I think awareness of anyone who is conducting that travel or assisting in that travel is really important.
So the sunflower scheme and letting attendants know.
Yes.
Good suggestions,
Yeah, and I think it must be quite difficult for the family with the baby who cries as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
To help them understand that it's not a reaction to their baby.
Yeah, it's not to blame them.
Exactly.
Because our children have gone through that stage, and I'm sure every child goes through that stage.
Yeah.
So it's a natural phenomenon for every child. But it's seeing it from the perspective of the person who is getting overwhelmed, gets to a point where it is having an impact on the nervous system, and what can we do about that?
Yeah, and you do all the usual things, don't you, with the noise cancelling headphones and things like that. But when it comes to that point of where it tips over, then that must be so hard.
No, it's been absolutely fantastic talking to you and learning about your self. Trish, thank you so much for sharing, and there's many lessons to learn as well from many of the examples that you've provided. So it's been a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah.